Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Wherever you happen to find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world we're in. This is another scene for Unmask Orlando the Vampire Venue. This evening's scene brings us back to a familiar location to many, the White Wolf Cafe in downtown Orlando. Several of our denizens have seen this place by now.
So I'm
And
telling you, Amelia. Oh, sorry.
you're all good.
That the place?
Yep, that's it. That's the White Wolf Cafe.
No, I'm asking Sam in character.
Ah, okay. Go ahead.
Yes, that is the place. I've heard some good things about this place. It's a nice place to get information. Plus, apparently, Kindred are pretty nice around here. I mean, at least I've heard some interesting things about it. Not to mention, we got to meet that. I was going to meet that new Kindred, and I was going to talk with him and try and get a feel for what he thinks about the city. And I was also going to talk to that Serenity Kindred. Yeah.
Who are these people again? Like, seriously, how,
Well,
how are you
well,
getting?
well. To be fair, Amelia, I know computers your thing. Streetwise is kind of something I go around and do. I like to talk to the new kindred. I like to talk to varying things and get the information lay of the land.
You like to
Not to mention,
talk. Period.
ah, yes, yes, I do. You got me on that one. But we need to find these gargoyles, and Serenity is a member of the Tremere. Maybe she can give us a little information. Yeah.
Tremaine. Yeah. Okay, I guess we could just take some binoculars and go to a tower or something. But anyway,
Well,
let's.
we tried doing that last night, and then you picked a bar fight.
Mm, the barfhead picked me.
Oh, bullshit, bullshit.
You know
You
how it
just knocked
goes.
you knocked him out flat when he gave you a compliment and said you looked pretty.
As they walk in, this guy's behind the bar serving drinks and food.
I Sam will walk in, of course. They're both guised. And he looks over and he goes up to the bar, says, "Evening."
Alexi gives a friendly nod.
Hi, I'm
And I get,
Amelia. That's my dad.
eh,
Pleasure. What can I get for you?
Mm-hmm.
"I'll take an EJ on the rocks, please."
He nods and goes and mixes up the drink.
Is
He's
this
like, "Forgive
Sam?
my daughter. Sometimes she can be cranky."
Mm-hmm.
He glances at them and just raises an eyebrow.
He shrugs.
You really should get better at lying.
Yeah, I know it's not exactly my strongest suit.
Well, who told you to pick such a 50s face?
Well, this was a good face. I mean, it's a good enough face. I don't look like about to murder somebody.
I don't look like I'm about to murder somebody. I look very harmless.
You look like a punk rock British girl from Sarasota, Florida.
I don't even know what that is, okay? Look, come on. Come on. Come on. Dude. Seriously.
He sits down. He's like, "See what I've had to deal with for the past 200 years, Alexi?"
You're not that old.
No. Close enough, though.
Mm.
Sorry. Thank you for allowing us access here. We're not going to be any trouble. We're just meeting some friends here to discuss cleanup that we need to do on the city.
Good luck.
Yeah, no kidding. From what I hear, the city needs a lot of cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard any rumors about, oh, flying gargoyles around?
You know, if I had, it wouldn't be the weirdest fucking rumor I'd heard lately, but no, I haven't.
Hmm. Means they've probably gone into hiding. Yeah, if you see any flying gargoyles about, let us know because we gotta kind of get them off the street and take care of them.
Or, if you take a stroll around your Universal Studios and see some statues that don't belong or look new, maybe we can bring them down and see.
Yeah, no kidding. I know it's got a couple statues over there. Who knows? Don't know where they'd be hiding.
In plain sight, it would be my guess. That's what I'd do.
Perhaps have to ask a little bit more about them. Takes his drink and says, "Thanks, Alexi."
He looks over at Amelia and you.
I I don't drink drinks.
She
Okay.
has she has a bit of a peeve, so to speak.
He's gonna go over and just get a glass of blood and set it in front of the counter. On the counter in front of her.
Oh, so you have my drinks. Good to know. Thank you. Cheers. Just gonna take
Enjoy.
smell the blood and take a sippy sip.
Sam gives a little nod to Alexi. Says,
So,
"Thank you."
who are these people we're meeting?
We are meeting a Miss. He pulls out a little piece of paper and he says, "A Miss Serenity Ward and a Mr. Salvador." I don't even want to try and pronounce his last name.
Hmm. Hey, Alexi, do you know these people?
Serenity, I know. She's young Tremere.
Hmm.
I say young, but you know, I
Yeah,
think she's she looks young.
At that point, Serenity will come in, like humming a quiet little happy tune to herself. She'll stop and she'll put a 20 on the counter. A tip for
Oh,
you working so hard, Mr. Alexi.
no, speak of the devil.
Oh, that's the one.
yes.
How could you compare me to someone so dark?
What?
Only kidding, dear. Only kidding.
Hey, Serenity, how are you? My name is, I believe you've acquainted with me occasionally, but my name is Sam Baragon. This is my good friend, Miss Amelia Ross.
Hi.
Her eyes slant as she glances them over. A pleasure. I'm sorry. Have we only had a momentary meeting, or am I forgetting something important? My memory's been very foggy lately.
Briefly met you just once, but it was just a mere passing by. Uh, we are fairly new kindred in this town, and we wanted to talk with you. I appreciate you coming to this request, but I wanted to chat with you about a few things that have been happening and kind of get the lay of the land. You see, me and Amelia, we're kind of bounty hunters, so to speak.
Oh, well, shall we sit and talk then?
Of course.
Very well.
So he'll sit down and he'll sit across from her. And he says, "So, what was this whole thing about the thing with the gargoyles? What happened, Serenity?"
She'll kind of cringe and she goes, well, I don't really know exactly what's going on in the hectic aftermath of everything, but they pretty much. It's a Tremere matter. They got out after a certain red lister was taken care of.
Well,
And it,
clearly, dear, it's not a Tremere matter since it's not handled. It's a
well, my
citywide
dear,
matter at this
she,
point.
she'll, she looks at Amelia. Your name was Miss Ross, right?
Yes.
And shouldn't we leave it to our great leaders and elders to handle these situations unless we're called in?
Well, to be fair, if the situations were getting handled, we would need to be called in. Why do you think me and Amelia are here?
I mean, I guess I suppose we could let the shit hit the fan per se, and then step in. But we can avoid that and just,
No, no, let's not let the shit hit the fan. I quite like this city. It's very pretty. Have you ever seen the flowers that bloom here?
I'm not a flower person.
Oh, you don't know
So,
what you're missing.
Mm,
I guess at
I hear
this time Salvador will enter. He'll go up to the bartender and he'll go, "Excuse me, perdóname, I am here to meet some people, and
Alexei is actually going to sniff the air briefly and just kind of narrow his eyes as he looks at Salvador.
what are you doing?" He's just gonna
Sam?
look at
he's just looking at him.
Alexei.
Mr. Alexei, is everything all right over there?
This one smells like worm.
Worm.
She'll
Ah,
motion to the man and go, "Is this a friend of yours, Mr. Paragon?"
Yeah, this man was fairly new to the city, and I was going to get him a little bit introduced, so to speak, since his clan is currently, well, no one was able to help him at the moment. So I was going to take this responsibility of introducing him to the city and giving him some locations and
And
talking with him.
what clan exactly is he?
I
The
assume you are
Sombra?
the people I am to meet.
Yes.
Uh,
Nice
you
to see
must
you, Sal.
be, you must be Mr. Samuel.
He nods.
Pleased to meet you. I am, well, I guess you could call me the betrayer.
You know, they give your clan such a rude reputation, but at least most of you are, at least some of the ones I've met have been around here have been okay. Although, well, it is Orlando.
mm,
Uh,
I
Alexi, is
don't
he
know,
going to be
man.
all right? He has a darker past than some of us, but he's trying.
Well,
I see one foot out of line. You know what'll happen, Sam.
Oh, of course. Basically, Salvador, be well behaved in here, or he'll tell you to shreds.
Well,
oh,
yeah, not to
don't
be
mind
rude or
me.
anything, but most of your kind that I've met, well, let's say they're not very alive anymore.
And
It's
to
a
be fair,
wink.
there's Boris. To be fair, Amelia, Boris in Chicago, he's a nice guy. He's the Sombra.
You're being way too nice and trusting,
uh,
Sam. Anyway,
You're you're just upset because he stole your drink that one night.
so may I speak bluntly for a moment to our new gentleman?
Of course.
Please.
I don't know you, and Alexei doesn't seem to like you much. So until I know I can trust you, you're on the short end of the stick with me.
I like this one. You remind me of my lovely sire.
I know, damn Serenity. I didn't know you had that much sass to you.
isn't it ironic though, coming from a Tremere of all people?
It is a bit ironic coming from a Tremere of anyone.
She kind of like licks her tongue across her teeth and looks over to Amelia and goes, "And what is wrong with us?"
Well, I wouldn't call the Tremere the most trustworthy of people per se. But
Uh,
enough of
And
that.
yet she's not the one that smells of worm.
Don't worry about me, mister. I have no problem in your bar unless there are any Sabbat here.
I would hope you have no problems and stay in tow throughout the whole city. I would really
And
hate my betters to get upset with you, new man.
Mr. Salvador is well behaved.
I'll take your word for it.
As
For
long
now.
as there are no Sabbat.
As Sam puts his glass away and goes back to the table after he goes back up to the bar and gives Alexi the empty glass, he looks at Alexi and he's like, This is what's so frustrating with our kind. It's like everyone's betrayed everyone. Arr.
Lexi just kind of shrugs.
Have you
Sits back.
introduced yourself to my kin yet, or is Sam helping you with that?
I would be
Well,
helping him with that. But he
yeah.
has introduced himself to the prince, at the very least.
If the prince
After all, I did help him take the city somehow with removing the funds of the Sabbat.
her still normal business polite face on, well, I guess if the prince approves you, we can't argue with his domain as the most alpha over us all.
Okay, I'm sorry, but your way of
Both
wording things, Mason
both Amelia and
Ward,
Sam just
is
snicker.
yeah.
Oh, that, she literally worded it like that for someone else that's in the bar.
Sweetheart, I understand kindred terminology. You don't have to try to appeal to the wolf in me.
Thank you.
Not to mention, from what I've heard, he's not that much of an alpha. But anyway,
What, Mr.
The,
Prince?
the look Serenity is giving her, and she goes, you will not speak ill of the prince in front of me.
or what?
And here I thought I would be the problem maker, problem starter, whatever.
To be fair,
Alexa,
I am amazed.
do you have any coffee with a spoon for sugar that I am able to drink here?
He nods and brings you a small pot of coffee with a little tray full of little sugar cubes.
After she puts the sugar in it, though, she is still holding the spoon while staring at Amelia.
Amelia just sipping her blood.
Sam brings up his watch and he says, "And Mark."
Yeah, point
Mo-
taken, point taken. Can we talk about the gargoyles now? That's why
Yes,
I'm
of
here.
course. Yeah,
Speak ill of the prince, you deal with his enforcers.
Oh, hey, Conrad.
Elder.
Hi.
Serenity.
She'll just smirk a little. Once he showed his face, though, the tension seems to leave her, and she places the spoon politely on a napkin.
Hey, Conrad. We were just talking about the little gargoyle problem. We were starting to go and search out and see if we could either get them back or eliminate them.
What do you mean get them back? Eliminate them.
Well, possibly. I
We
mean, I don't
we,
know.
we have no interest in the gargoyles.
However, Mr. Conrad, I think your input in this will be very helpful. You were there,
It
you
Yeah,
actually
was,
saw them.
after all, my sire who created them.
Conrad, if
Uh,
it's not too much of a touchy subject here, me, Amelia, and Salvador are still pretty new to the city. What exactly happened?
As far as we know, he had most of them kept at the chantry.
Right. Yeah, I heard about that little incident. Hmm. Okay. Do we have any way to track them down?
No, we've got no blood, nothing. Marcus left nothing to chance.
Hmm. No records, no books, no scribes, no notes, nothing.
I mean, he has extensive notes, but not on this.
Hmm.
His notes are all on how to perform the ritual. Everything that goes into it.
Hey, I just had a thought. Hmm. Conrad, we're having some Sabbat trouble in the city, obviously. Do we know if the Sabbat have any? Would the current Sabbat, at least from what we know, have any way to control them or take them over?
No, there shouldn't be any way for anyone else to control them, with the exception of through the dominate abilities. They're particularly susceptible.
Hmm.
Question: if they can be dominated, does that mean that they also can be bound after being dominated?
Serenity acts like she wants to say something, but she's leaving it to Conrad.
It's a good question.
Go on, Serenity.
I've only ever read of those who are like us, she motions to Conrad and herself, being able to do something of that manner to a gargoyle.
Yes, it's generally the Tremere that hold the power.
Are you sure and no Tzimitzi could do such a thing as well?
I am only speaking of what I've studied so far. I may look young, but I'm not as old as some of the others in this room.
Are there any old, powerful Zamisi that we know of in the city, Conrad?
Several.
Hmm.
The question would they be willing to talk to us, and what would the price they charge be?
Well,
Can we
probably
just
my head.
talk to the Zimitsi? We don't talk to the Zimitsi. We bust the skulls in.
If
Unless,
you
of
want,
That's how.
we
course,
could.
unless they're on our side, of course.
Yes, but when you need information, sometimes there are better ways than drawing blood.
Might I suggest that
Normally, I would
you
agree with you, but
try to bring
you're
out the
going.
Tzimitzi by offering my head? Of course, this would be all a ruse. Unless you
Interesting.
do want to bring them my head with me. That would
Salvador,
be very bad for me.
Why would the Zavisi want your head? I know why somebody from the
Well,
Sabbat would want your head. You helped take the city back, but why the local Zavisi?
you see, I kinda ruined all their time and stole all of their money and put them in different places. So let's just say all of the Sabbat kinda hate me right now because I kinda performed a beautiful heist and, well, it helped you out, didn't it? In retaking your beautiful city of Orlando.
Nice.
Serenity just sighs deeply before she takes a sip of her special coffee and then offers it to Conrad.
He holds up a hand. I'm fine.
She'll nod, set it back on the table, and then go, "Who is this man, Sam?"
This is one of the ones responsible for helping retake Orlando.
You can
After
call me
all,
the betrayer. Everyone does these days.
I can confirm that he did indeed help take back the city.
She'll nod to Conrad, then she'll look at him. Then I will not call you that because it would be rude. And my mother always taught me to have proper manners.
I aim to take pride in what they call me.
there's no reason to shame yourself here. You did what I consider an honorable act, even if some disagree. But alas, we are here at an impasse where we have gargoyles on the loose. And Amelia, remember that guy that you so rudely knocked out in that one bar? Well, do you
Mm,
remember that he was saying that he had seen something flying overhead that looked like a giant bat or whatnot? That could have been it,
probably.
right? So we don't have too many leads. Um,
Well, he certainly can't talk anymore with a broken jaw, but
true. Well, yeah, you knocked the stuff
Maybe
out of him.
not, physically harm someone who could have helped us.
Indeed.
Perhaps if we're looking for information and we're keeping an eye out for gargoyles, we should establish squads of patrol in different parts of the city, since we don't know exactly now that they're feral where they would go.
I mean, it'd be a good idea anyway, since we've probably got the Sabbat problem to take care of pretty quickly here.
That too. And I don't know of many outside of us we could call upon, but if the elders and prince think we might have some allies we could call on, contacting them would be a good idea too for now.
Definitely.
That is only my humble opinion as an Ancilla, though.
Pardon
Conrad,
me,
what's.
but
Go
I
ahead.
came here to the conclusion that he points at Sam and his daughter, quote unquote, that your people, you of the Camarilla, you control every surveillance in the city or something like that.
Oh, you
Am I
mean
not?
our.
Is that
You mean
con-
us as the Nos. You mean us as the Nosferatu.
yes?
Yeah.
We could definitely take a little look see here, but we already have a few people on it. Although Sabbat in this city are being very good at hiding. Speaking of which, Conrad, what are we going to do about that? Have we had any updates on getting these Sabbat wiped out yet?
I've had ghouls scouting their havens, I guess.
Hmm.
Well, I had some idea.
Go ahead, Amelia.
I want to get a few, vantage points up top, install some cameras, you know.
Sounds like a plan.
That could
S-
work for some of them, but what if some of them can hide like us?
I think I have a little way to
Um,
deal with that.
the camera would pick it up.
Now, Amelia, you haven't dealt with a few of the things I've seen. Some of your tricks only work on certain kindred. Some kindred can get past that. I've seen it.
Well, we're talking about gargoyles. How advanced are those gargoyles?
Well, to be fair, we also have to think about possibility that even though we've decided that the gargoyles are very unlikely being controlled, we have to put in the probability that they very well could go to the enemy.
Exactly, there is a Tremere anti-tribute presence.
Indeed.
Hmm. That would be a good place to start, I think.
All right.
Yes,
I'll
especially
go ahead.
considering they want Alyssa back.
I'll
Who
start
is
putting out some of the
Alyssa?
calls for surveillance. Yeah, who is Alyssa?
Uh,
She's a neonate of our clan who was taken in by another elder.
Hmm.
Saved
Uh,
all of our asses.
Well, in
Go
that
ahead, Jason.
case,
it is at that point that a slowly pretty familiar figure calmly walks into the White Wolf bar, looking a bit interestedly around, and then suddenly seeing a whole cluster of kindred talking quite interestingly. Um, he first goes to the bar, gets himself a glass of wine, and then slowly slenders over to the group. Evening, ladies, gentlemen, and gives everyone a nod.
good evening.
hello again, Mr. Sirius.
I like your name. It is very serious.
He gets a narrowing of the eyes from Conrad.
Speaking of that, Mr. Conrad, may I be excused for a moment? I need to talk to my friend here privately.
You don't have to ask my permission, dear.
She will stand up, take Sirius by the elbow. Let's go have a quiet chat, and pull him off.
As you wish, and he follows.
Well, Conrad, if there is interest from the Sabbat for this particular member of your clan, I think the priority should be given there, depending on how much they really are
Well, to be fair, that is
committed
a good
to
question.
getting her back.
That's a good question, Amelia. Conrad, why do they want her? Really?
She was anti-tribute. She
Still,
also happens to be a blood doctor.
Hmm. See why that would be definitely of value.
Well, in that case, I think we need to find and apprehend that Tremere anti-tribute and see what we can get from them.
Do we know the location of the anti-tribune?
We do indeed.
Okay. Out of curiosity, Conrad, in case something gets happen, I assume that all conflicts, especially if we are acting in self-defense, we can get a bit violent if we wish. In other words, if I have a bunch of Sabbat attack me, I am more than legalized to axe them, correct?
Is that really even a question, Sam?
That's not even a question, man.
Well, you might be, you never know sometimes. I just have to ask.
We're talking about the Sabbat, Sam.
I know, I know.
But anyway, I
If they
think.
come at you, fuck them up.
You
But it's
got
best if we
it.
can apprehend this one alive. I mean, if he has any. Eh, if he has any connection to the existing gargoyles, maybe we can hit two birds with one stone.
To be fair, that is an interesting thought. We could try and take one of them alive, maybe interrogate.
I mean, that's the idea.
Give that a shot.
Though, to be fair, still Tremere, still dangerous, probably.
Yeah, guys have some
Unless you
funny
can
shit.
figure out a way to nullify their magic, I would suggest not taking them alive.
Well, do you have any specific intel on that individual?
There are several anti-tribute in the city. It's all going to depend on which one you go after.
Hmm.
Why don't you send me, if you can, just a little bit of information on this one? Me, Amelia, and a few others I've got going. We can try and find maybe a way to grab one of these guys.
What do we know about them, generally speaking? Do they have, like, if they have any sort of, online presence, I can track them.
Hmm. Not to mention telling us maybe what. I mean, I know there's only so much you can talk about Conrad. I'm not one to ask clan secrets, but what kind of powers these guys would supposedly have.
Can I roll Sabbat lore and tell them what
Yeah,
I know? What would that be? Intelligence?
yep, intelligence Sabbat lore.
Uh,
Well, he makes that roll. Serenity
Yep,
will return
let's go to
whispering.
Sirius and Serenity.
Go ahead.
I said, yeah, let's go ahead and move to Serenity and Sirius's discussion.
Uh, basically, like I
oh shit, that is so awful.
messaged on Facebook, is she's explaining to him privately, closer to Alexei, further from the vampires, uh, if she's being led away by the prince or any other Tremere elders, as much as she admires him protecting her and being her friend, he does not need to get involved for his own well being. Think of them as very overprotective brothers or parents, and you're a strange man coming between their small child and them. Do you understand, Sirius?
No, I fully understand. That was a faux pas on my part. Let's just say at that moment, I was looking at the situation through the eyes of a gangrel and not of a Tremere. I promise you, it won't happen again.
She'll smile. She'll pat him on the shoulder with like one hand and whisper, "Look, if you want to protect me in any other situation, I would love someone to punch people for me. But let's not do that to Conrad. He's nice. And I would suggest, explaining to him. Let's go join the others now before they get curious."
Yes, before the rumors abound, and they return.
Well, here's the thing. With some information, I can do some digging. I'm quite good at locating people. That's one of my specialties, I suppose.
I super botched my role, by the way.
So Salvador is like, oh, I got to think about some things I know about the spot. Damn it, I don't know anything more.
That's not even just a fail. That's a straight up botch. That is
Yeah.
a double botch.
He just like
Like,
thinks about
how is
Sabbat
this
lore
even
and then he just
possible?
has a stroke. He thinks about Sabbat lore and then he has a stroke. Like, oh.
For all you know,
Jesus,
you know,
that is so bad.
I can't even come up with something for that bad a roll.
The fucking RNG, man.
I mean, you
Black
know,
eyes glazed.
ritual fucking marshmallows. That's all I can say. You know,
Salvador. Salvador's
Your brain is a s'more now.
it matches his overlay. That's just the face he's giving right now.
Yes.
Just I,
Yeah, that's so good. Ah,
Uh,
thoughts, bro.
okay, so Conrad, another thing here. I mean, I've been asking around and I've been seeing some stuff pop up on the news here. Um, apparently people are dying. What the hell's going on?
Wow, people are dying. Who would have thought?
um,
I mean, as a serial
okay,
killer.
so yeah, there was a thing with that. Um,
Ah. Yeah, Serenity's like kind of giving Conrad a look. Is that thing even cleaned up for all we know?
mhm. Ugh.
Yeah, that's scary.
So
So we may or may not be dealing with Jack the Ripper.
Wait,
you're a
wait,
kid.
wait. You mean the actual?
Yes, I mean the Jack the Ripper.
Freaking
Okay.
well,
Well,
this is very interesting.
what?
Trust me, I know. He fucking stabbed me.
Okay. Let's bug it up a little bit. So, what the fuck happened in Orlando and all the weird shit has fallen upon it?
I mean,
Well,
considering the whole
actually,
place is an ancient Indian burial ground, I mean,
yeah.
what else could go
That's what I'm
wrong?
saying.
Great. Perfect. Awesome. Great idea to come here, Sam. Yay.
Hey,
I mean,
hey,
to be fair, this whole
Amelia.
country was built on an ancient Indian burial ground.
At
Wow,
Amelia.
least the weather is very nice.
it's as if the natives were living all over the place and they were burying their dead. Who would have thought?
To be fair, Amelia, you wanted some action. Orlando's got action.
That's a lot of action. I don't know where to start looking. Like, okay, we have to
Yeah, Conrad would
prioritize.
actually like pull his shirt back to show the fucking scar from where he got stabbed.
Ooh, that's cool. Oh, so you're collecting them too, huh?
I don't collect them, they just happen.
Same thing. It's a matter of perspective. I choose the positive one.
Serenity.
Kind of rolls his eyes.
Of course, being in a public place, I can't show you my scars because there might be people around, but
Serenity is looking towards them very confused.
Yes, let's not breach the masquerade here.
wasn't planning to. That's why I hate public places. Cannot be myself.
Well then, so what are you people going to do about the Sabbat in this beautiful city of yours?
Kill them, probably.
Other
Yeah, I
than
mean that is, you know, the normal thing to do.
Leave them to the sun?
but how are you planning to do that?
She kind of like
You-
motions to Sirius at her side. Get big, strong men like this to hold them down until they're restrained?
Right. Well, from what Jason had told us, they were planning something before this whole weird clusterfuck with your people happened. I suppose now that the situation is different, that has changed as well, correct?
The situation hasn't changed too much. We're still We've still had ghouls all throughout the city, watching, keeping an eye out. The Sabbat presence has been shockingly low.
Usually that means the calm before the storm, but let's not jinx it.
You
Well, maybe
never
let's hope
know.
this. Who knows? Maybe let's hope this Jack fellow starts killing Sabbat.
One
Um,
can only dream.
If we're
well,
lucky, maybe he already did.
yeah, I wouldn't
Well,
count on us being that lucky,
for
honestly.
all we know, there could be
That
a
or
massive.
Marcus used them for the gargoyles.
Which is the most likely scenario, of course.
For all we know, there could be a mass grave full of shovel heads right now in the city. Wouldn't that be fun?
For all we know, maybe some of the new arrivals are shovelheads.
Believe me, if you'd seen a shovel head, you'd know. Usually they don't know where they are, what they are when where they stand. It's a miracle so bad is actually able to maintain what they maintain with these methods, but
You do know they only do that to stall you guys, right? They don't actually believe those shovel bastards can do anything. We just use them for
well,
shock troopers.
well,
Well,
Cannon
Exactly.
fodder.
mm,
well, they
They're cannon
can't.
fodder.
Well, they can't do anything. That's the thing. It's,
ah,
that's
It's more the
why we should focus on the higher ups.
yes, focus on the La Sombra and the Simitsi.
at the mention of Zimitzi, Sirius pretends to spit.
I'm pretty sure that bartender would not mind if you just spat on the floor. So feel free to spit on the floor if you'd like.
Uh, I don't fancy wasting vitae.
I might be a werewolf, but I'm not a savage. Spit on my floor and I will end you.
Well, I guess that answers that. Do not spit
My,
on the floor.
my good sir, I didn't spit on your floor. I merely pretended as a sign of disgust. Secondly, I don't wish to soil this lovely establishment with my vitae.
Oh, I'm well aware you didn't. I'm just referring to certain other people who seem to think that because I am, what, a werewolf, that I am some kind of savage, evidently.
Oh, don't worry. I'm used to that epitaph as well. People tend to jump to conclusions a little too fast these nights.
Oh, I thought that was always the case with some of us.
Serenity quietly sipping her coffee.
Sirius just shrugs.
So, how do you guys plan on kidnapping one of the anti-tribute Tremere?
Well, I don't know. Don't you have any info to give us? After all, you were one of them.
He
Give me
just makes
something.
that blank face. I was going to tell you something, but then my brain seems to have farted very loudly, and now it just can't think of anything at the moment.
Useless then. Great. I'll
What
have to
what
start
I
on my
was
own.
what I was thinking of, what we could do. Conrad, question. Have the Sabbat made any declarations, or shall we say, desires made known?
No,
Besides
not
getting back,
really. They don't talk to us.
they don't make any declarations of we're gonna fucking kill you. Okay. Huh. So that must means there's probably one of two things happening. One, there's something distracting them. Two, they're getting ready for a frontal assault.
Or both.
So, why don't we start causing a little bit of havoc at one of these hideouts and see if any come out?
I would certainly love to come with you. It would definitely piss them off a lot more if I was with you.
Yeah, that would definitely probably piss them off.
Are you sure you want to put yourself in danger so readily?
I must
Are
side
you
with
talking
what's
to
wrong
me?
here. If you're as important as you like to act you are, Mr. Salvador, wouldn't it be better to keep you as a last resort?
Oh, I'm no one important. I'm just someone who got very mad because of their last civil war.
She just kind of shakes her head, goes back to sipping her coffee, keeping her opinion to herself. Conrad knows she's trying to keep this ass under control.
Conrad's just gonna, pat her on the back gently.
So, what is it exactly you plan on, Mr. Samuel?
Well, cause a little bit of ruckus, maybe destroy one of their, obviously without masquerade reaching. Cause a little ruckus, maybe destroy one of their buildings, put a calling card out, etc., etc. Maybe set you up as bait.
Mhm. That was certainly most fun, Mr. Samuel. I mean,
Bait
you're,
is the easiest route if they're as mindless as you claim.
only the shovelheads are mindless. Believe me, a lot of them are very smart.
I
I want to believe that we're smarter.
Ah,
Well, I guess we're all in accord.
Well, how do you want to do this? Because personally, I think, well, let's make some
Well,
charges
let's
in
make
there, make some
yep,
things blow up.
let's make
Yeah.
some preparations, Amelia. Let's have you do your thing, and we'll get some cameras and your other setups going. We'll find a nice place, get Mr. Salvador out, and we'll get see if they take the bait.
what about you, Mr. Sirius of Clan?
Gangrel.
Ah, now I understand your comment earlier. Will you join us?
Well, I promised that I would help the city with external threats, and Sabbat are always an external threat. He just smiles, his fangs coming out a little bit. More than happy to either do a bit of scouting, maybe helping setting up with whatever equipment you wish, or who knows, maybe I could turn myself into a little bird and see what they're up to. Maybe scout out the area.
What are your skills, generally speaking?
The classic, the transformation, the claws that rend, the forms that tear,
The
or
fun kind.
firearms. Mind you, sadly, my old service revolver has died of old age in the
Oh,
time I was sleeping. But if somebody could hook me up, I have the finances. It's more a question of getting to the right sources to acquire them.
oh, I think it's going
But
to be very easy to hook you up. After all, we're
that
in Florida.
quite true,
The
quite true.
firearm
The new
laws are
paper
quite
bound.
lax. I'm going to have a lot of fun in this city.
Very good. Most things, but preferred mode definitely firearms. And since I have the attention of the round, and he turns to Conrad, to the elder of Clan Tremere, my dear elder von Essen, I would like to apologize for my behavior the last time we met. Let's just say my protectiveness became a bit overzealous. I'll promise it won't happen again in the future.
Oh, believe me, it won't happen again. If you try to interrupt me talking to one of my apprentices, I will, well, make short work of you.
I have no doubt, he says with a very straight face.
Good.
So where do I start? What's their general location?
Right now, as far as we know, the ghouls are still reporting them as being holed up in the Lake Nona area.
Lake Nona.
Do we know which clans are in this lake?
There seems to be presence of both La Sombra and Zamitzi. The Tremere are nowhere to be found, but I'm not shocked by that.
Well, perhaps we will burn down their little shack. Maybe they will appear, but well, maybe we should send some little birds in the area to scout about.
Well, here's hoping none of them are studying the abyss.
Well, thing is, I've heard a lot of things, and don't necessarily believe that they're all holed up in that little shack, like Jason said. There are probably more coming in or ready to come in. There might be at
Probably.
the bottom of the lake, for all I know. You know.
To be fair, we could have had some rogues left over from Chicago too come down here. We didn't get all of them.
Yeah, why don't we leave Chicago unattended? What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, Maxwell doesn't need us there helping him. Got this well in hand.
For now.
To be safe, though, Elder Conrad, perhaps maybe one of the Ventrus or others who have connections to police could set up some road stops or something, just to delay things while we try to clean this up.
I can use my police contacts for that.
Jen looks a
Curious.
bit.
Are the Ventru, do they still have a stick up their ass?
I think
I wouldn't
Salvador
say
out here.
anything to the Ventru right now if I were you.
I mean, to be
Ah,
fair, Salvador, we're all kindred. We all have sticks up our butts sometimes.
Speak for
not like the
yourself.
Ventru.
They just lost their primogen. I'd watch your tongue around them if I were you.
Well, I'll accept your advice, Mr. Conrad.
Oof, that must have been rough. Do we have any idea on who the new primo's going to be?
No, we don't. There'll no doubt be competition for it.
Well, they're the Ventru after all.
Say, that gives me an idea. Amelia,
Mm-hmm.
Jason was planning on hosting a competition, he told me just recently.
Oh, God.
I mean, like, typically, Conrad, when. Like, I know this is a bit unorthodox, but why don't we just set up a bunch of, if they want to duke it out, let's, like, set some up,
I.
voice, combat, charisma, just have them fight it out, whoever wins at the top.
Sam, I don't think that this is how the Ventru work, man. Like, seriously, I think maybe this one leave it up to the prince,
They're
perhaps?
going to go with the oldest and the most regal blood.
I see. So they're doing
Uh,
the classical way.
It's the Ventru.
What did you
Yeah.
expect?
Anything else?
To be fair, the primogen that just passed didn't seem that bad, but I only met him for like a day.
Everyone hides behind the mask. Do not be tricked by what you see on the surface.
Maybe some people just like to be honest. It's more distracting.
You know, it's very interesting coming from you. It's like it's not like you're already very untrustworthy. You're making it very hard.
Ah, believe what you want
Anyway,
to believe.
I believe only the facts, and I'll be watching you until I have the facts.
One thing I do know is true is I hate the Sabbat more than you.
Oh, really? Might
Oh
want to try
yes.
that again, dear.
To be fair to Miss Ross, you've barely known her from what I'm picking up. And I'm sure she may have her secrets just as most do. She
Oh,
can learn more than
darling, I have no secrets. I don't need
Uh,
to have any secrets. But it
I
is no
find that very
secret
hard to
that
believe.
I've taken out a lot of Sabbat. You can ask Sam, you can ask Jason. It's kind of like a hobby for us in
Taking them out
Chicago.
and bearing a hatred of the kind that I'm sure our La Sombra friend here bears them is an entirely different thing.
He's just gonna stare at Conrad.
Well, hate is just a word. I don't believe
No,
in
Sam,
no, it's
words.
not.
I believe
Hate
in
is more than a
actions.
word. It is fuel.
Sam looks at his arm and he pulls back some of the sleeve and he starts looking at it a bit. And his arm is scarred very badly. He says, hate is far more than just a word. Sometimes it inspires a whole nation to do things even we kindred don't like.
Hate is the best kind of fuel you can have.
Hmm,
Mm, arguable, but it's definitely a strong emotion.
right up there with love.
I agree with Mr. Serious.
I would not compare the two.
Love and hate are two sides of the same coin.
Exactly. Indeed, they are, Mr. Conrad.
The things you do for love.
I disagree.
And you can feel both for the same person.
Can't
It
say I
sounds like
had that.
this is coming from experience, Mr. Conrad.
Indeed. The red lister that was recently killed was not just my sire, but also my brother.
Ooh. My sympathies, Mr. Conrad.
Might as well. It's never easy losing family. But we all make our choices. We either live with them or we die with them.
So, when do you people plan on doing the plan?
Well, we need to get set up first, but in working coordination with Mr. Conrad here and a few others, we can begin as soon as we can, really.
Yeah, you need to be patient when this needs planning. You can't just barge in and,
How many
you
nights do you
know.
think you'll need, Amelia, to get everything set up?
I don't know, I have to investigate. See what's the situation, scope up the place, see what's the best way to approach it. And of course, it's
Rough it.
not me making the decisions. This is something that we have to, you know, decide upon as a team, I suppose. I have my ideas, I can present them.
And as I say, patience is a virtue, Mr. Salvador. So This will be a good lesson for you to practice.
Indeed. So, Amelia, I'm guessing probably about maybe a week.
Give or take, I think it will be enough for the initial planning. Assuming everything goes well.
Let's hope so. Sam takes one last look at his scar and then covers it back up.
Well, when the planning is done, please give me a call. He gives you a card.
Of course, Salvador. By the way, I'll after we're done here tonight, I'll show you around a few of those places and kind of give you a lowdown. Jason gave me a nice little rundown of everything before I arrived.
Thank you very much. I've been cooped up for so long.
Are
It is
you
good to see you
sure that you're
back.
being safe, however? I mean, if we're going to use you as a bargaining chip, might as well make sure that you're secured.
Oh, we're not going anywhere unsecure.
Well, I don't know where he's staying or what's the security of the place.
Out of character, can he be staying at the hotel?
Yeah, that's where most of the new kindred to the city stay.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's just like locked in that hotel for 3 months because he can't go out.
They kept him in the basement.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I am staying at the hotel.
Okay, Conrad was what's the security of his yacht? I have no doubt about where the prince lives, but I don't know where he's.
The entire upper area where the kindred stay is warded beyond belief.
Okay, fair enough.
There has been one incident in the year since.
You're muted.
Conrad has just had a stroke.
Oh shit, I muted myself. Oops. Okay, to be fair, it's like 5:30 in the morning, okay?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Conrad's just talking to everyone and he just has a stroke. Gets back up. Oh, sorry about that.
So, you were saying?
What was the last thing you guys heard before
The
my
sec-
fucking mic went out?
The security is blank.
I can tell you that the only incident that has happened in the year since we finished constructing that hotel, the only incident that has happened involved myself and my blood brother. Everything else has been neutralized before it got to that point.
Alright.
Actually, I do apologize. I think one of you two are actually staying in the room that has the door bent in. I'm going to apologize for that personally. That was my fault.
Impressive.
Yeah, I was told about that.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see, little amiga, it is all fine.
Well, here's to happy hunting and hope this alleged Jack the Ripper doesn't find us while we do our thing.
I will drink to that, and he downs the wine.
Amen to that. And I have nothing more to add to the scene.
Same.
Does anyone else have any declarations before we end the scene?
I think we're good.
Uh,
Then Besides the fact she doesn't trust any of these motherfuckers.
The feeling is mutual.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yes. Less a declaration, more a little suggestion. In my past experience, Sabbat tend to be inventive and chaotic, if nothing else. I would warmly recommend trying to acquire a cat or maybe an American minx, just in case that that there might actually be some anti-tribute gangrel around and they're up to their animalistic shenanigans. You know, trying to spy you out with rats or similar small animals. Just a warm recommendation.
Oh, we'll have sensors for that shit.
Aren't you coming with us?
Who? Me?
Yes.
Yes, I will, once I've done the appropriate preparations. I'm not just going to go into battle without putting my armor on, in a manner of speaking.
So, are
Uh,
we good then?
yeah, Sam will kind of pipe up and say, he'll kind of look outside, and anyone who listens closely outside can hear some bats flying around. He's like, then I guess it's time to start looking.
Time to start looking.
By the way, I will drop this little crumb for Sam. There is a black town car sitting outside. In it, he sees a very familiar face. And with
Who
that,
am
we
I?
will end our scene.
Who am I seeing? Oh no.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene for Unmask Orlando. See you next time.